Have I done it right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So the presentation is about Baha'i marriage, or Baha'i view on marriage. And so what I've done is, at the beginning, we just going to concentrate a little bit on the law of marriage. And I know all of you know about all of this, but just to explain this. Um, these are all from the codifications from the kitab-i-Aqdas, but I just put them in bullet points to make it easy to see. So marriage is highly recommended, but not obligatory. So even though Baha'is are encouraged to marry, if they don't marry, they're not going to be, doing a sin or something. It's fine. Um, and of course, again, plurality of wives is forbidden. Any man can only marry one woman, and it's conditioned upon both parties to have attained the age of maturity, which in the Baha'i faith is fixed at 15. So, that may be okay in the West, which is, I think, is it 16 in this country, but in countries like Saudi Arabia, in some countries, a girl can be married at the age of 9. Um, so this is very big difference with the Baha'i marriage. And it's also conditioned upon the consent of both a man and woman and their parents. And I always think that the law of Baha'i marriage is one of the most difficult laws in the Baha'i faith, because it involves two families, and without the consent of the parents and the man and woman, marriage cannot take place. And of course, again, it's only one sentence or one verse that the wedding party would say, which we go over it. And of course, marriage with non-Baha'is is absolutely permitted without any problems. So the pledge of marriage is that the bride and groom have to say it in presence of two witnesses, which are acceptable to the spiritual assembly, to the local spiritual assembly of where they live. And in the kitab-i-Aqdas, Baha'u'llah has said that this is the verse that they should say, we will all verily abide by the will of God. Remember, it's not like I'm going to obey and honor you, or I'll do this and that, but it's only about abiding by the will of God. So, as you all know, really, the Baha'i marriage, the Baha'is look at marriage from very, very extremely different point of view than the other people. So this is from Baha'u'llah, and he talks about God, in order to manifest his grace and beneficence to man, and to set the world in order, he revealed some laws. And among these laws, Baha'u'llah explains that it's the law of marriage, and made it as a fortress for well-being and salvation. And I always think about this fortress. It always captions my imagination. And Baha'u'llah goes on to say, enter into wedlock, O people, that ye may bring forth one who will make mention of me amid my servants. This is my bidding unto you, hold fast to it as an assistance to yourselves. He's not saying to assist me, to assist anybody else, to assist yourself, you hold on to it. So the concept of a fortress or a citadel, this is a picture I found on the internet. It's in Alexandria. And I just get very, very focused on why would Baha'u'llah talk about marriage being a fortress for well-being and salvation. So let's look at a fortress. What are the qualities about a fortress? It takes a long time to build it. As we go through these, can you try and imagine these in relation to marriage? So building a fortress takes a long time to build, and building a relationship between the man and woman takes a long time to build. Because what we see nowadays, sometimes people meet each other and 2 days or 2 weeks later, they get married, and then 2 months later, they separate from each other. It's not that. You need to build that relationship. And it needs strong materials. It needs people to actually put from themselves into it. It needs a lot of teamwork and planning and labor. Like no, Nabil, my nephew is here, and he's an architect, and he knows about building very strong buildings. Without everybody working together, everybody working very hard, you cannot actually build a strong building. And of course, you also need to have enough room for everyone, because you want, once you've built your fortress, you want to be able to accommodate other people and protect other people, meaning the rest of your family, your parents, and relatives and friends. So all of these, I couldn't think of anything else, but I'm sure there are more things to go with the fortress. Now, once you have built the fortress, then it's very majestic, it's magical, it stands out, and it is built to withstand the onslaught of the enemy and to protect the ones inside. Now, again, going to thinking about relationship, to me is protecting people, protecting the ones inside emotionally and spiritually and physically. It's not just one or the other. And this fortress is an impenetrable shield protecting and safeguarding those who are inside. And the safety of the ones inside is completely dependent on how the fortress is held up. So, how it's looked after. It needs work, it needs maintenance, it needs being watchful, it needs being thoughtful about things that are going on in the fortress or outside of the fortress, in order for it to be successful in doing what it's supposed to do. So we've kind of passed about the law of marriage, and I love this quote from Abdul Baha, because if you think about the differences of people getting married in different parts of the world, in some parts of the world we have arranged marriage, when the bride and groom don't even get to see each other until the night of the marriage. And in some parts of the world, it's basically, bride and groom get married and have absolutely no concern about what their parents think about this. So Abdul Baha specifies that you must first choose one who is pleasing to you. And then the matter is subject to the consent of the father and mother. And before you make your choice, the parents have no right to interfere. So again, marriage being a union, Abdul Baha explains that among the masses of people, it's a physical bond. And this union can only be temporary, since it's foredoomed to physical separation at the close. However, in the Baha'i faith, the marriage must be a union of the body and the spirit as well. And this connection between them is a spiritual one. So marriage is not just a piece of paper, marriage is not just a commitment, but it's a bonding of both body and spirit together. And Abdul Baha goes on to say, likewise, do they enjoy strong and long-lasting ties in the physical world as well? For if the marriage is based both on the spirit and the body, that union is a true one. Hence, it will endure. If, however, the bond is physical and nothing more, it is sure to be only temporary and must inexorably end in separation, which is what we see nowadays quite a lot of times. Unfortunately, people get married with the best of intentions. However, their union is not both of body and spirit. And sometimes people take physical attraction as the sign, and they think, oh, I love this person, but they're only physically attracted to them. And when we talk about the physical bond, I always think about superglue, because if you read the writings of the faith about marriage, all you see is you just run to this word bonding so often. And Abdul Baha talks about this must be a true relationship. So it's not a relationship because I just am physically attracted to somebody, or it's because it's convenient, but it's a true relationship. And remember, making the fortress, building the fortress, you have to work hard at it, and it takes time to build it. It's a spiritual coming together as well as a physical one, so that throughout every phase of life and in all the worlds of God, their union will endure. And I just want to again emphasize, Abdul Baha talks about in all the worlds of God. So when the union is a true relationship, and when it's a spiritual and a physical bond, then they would stay together. The union will endure even after death from this world. And this oneness, this real oneness, is a gleaming out of the love of God. So, as I said before, marriage is not just a commitment, but it is a commitment of two parties, one to the other, and mutual attachment of mind and heart. I love how these are described in Abdul Baha's writing in particular. And he says that each one of them must exercise the utmost care to become thoroughly acquainted with the character of the other. So they have to get to know each other. And that the binding covenant between them may be a tie that will endure forever. Their purpose must be this: to become loving companions and comrades, and at one with each other for time and eternity. As just beautiful. So the true marriage of Baha'is is that the husband and wife should be united both physically and spiritually. And I know I've put these so many times, different writings of Abdul Baha, but the fact that Abdul Baha has emphasized this so many times, we just need to remember it's a unity of both physical and spiritual qualities, and that they may ever improve the spiritual life of each other. So one of the ways that I imagine before you are thinking about getting married is the person that is pleasing to you, is that person helping you improve your spiritual life? And are you helping improve their spiritual life? And if that happens, they may enjoy everlasting unity throughout the worlds of God. This is Baha'i marriage. This is part of one of the prayers from Abdul Baha, but I thought if I put them in bullet points, it makes it look a bit easier to consider. The marriage must be, or maybe, a harbinger of joy to the friends, a loving bond for all eternity, yield everlasting benefits and fruits. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are about everlasting benefits and fruits, but I'm just thinking about service to mankind. Conjoined in servitude to thy holy threshold, united in ministering to thy cause the bestowals of God to be revealed. It should be in the love of God and adorned with harmony of heaven. This prayer For marriage again goes on to say, make thou this marriage to be a threading lights of thine abounding grace. Just beautiful how he's described two seas of love. From this union of these two seas of love, a wave of tenderness may surge and cast pearls of pure and goodly issue on the shore of life. So poetic. And he prays, O thou kind Lord, make thou this marriage to bring forth corals and pearls. And I don't know if corals and pearls only refer to children, but they can also refer to spiritual improvement and spiritual qualities, at least my thinking. And again, he says, two birds of the nest of thy love, and make them the means of attracting perpetual grace. So when the marriage parties are like two birds of the nest of God's love, they actually attract perpetual grace. I just wanted to put this one in because chastity is a very important issue in the Baha'i faith total, and in marriage, of course. And this is from one of the tablets of Baha'u'llah. He talks about if a true follower was walking and if he met the fairest and most comely of women, he would not feel his heart seduced by the least shadow of desire for her beauty. Such an one, indeed, is the creation of spotless chastity. Thus instructed you the pen of the ancient days, as bidden by your Lord, the Almighty, the All-Bountiful. Unfortunately, the question of chastity is not something that is in the culture outside of the Baha'i faith, is not given that much significance, or that was important. And people don't pay attention to it. So what are the purposes of marriage? Again, from the writings, Abdul Baha says, may bring forth one who will make, of course, sorry, this is from Baha'u'llah. He says, may bring forth one who will make mention of me and made my servants. And to raise an honored family, for the importance of marriage lieth in the bringing up of a richly blessed family, so that with entire gladness they may, even as candles, illuminate the world. You see the emphasis on the importance of being together, being honorable, and having that very intense physical and spiritual bond. And Abdul Baha says, my hope is that you may become as even as one tree, and may, through the outpourings of the clouds of loving kindness, acquire freshness and charm, and may blossom and yield fruit, so that your line may eternally endure. Family relationship. The integrity of the family bond must be constantly considered. Again, go back to the fortress. You must constantly check and make sure that the fortress is in good shape. So the integrity of the family bond must also be considered, and the rights of the individual members must not be transgressed. The rights of the son, the father, the mother, none of them must be transgressed. None of them must be arbitrary. And again, Abdul Baha talks about the relationship represents a complex of mutual and complementary duties and responsibilities that are implemented within the framework of the Baha'i ideal of family life and are conducive to its unity. Back to the fortress, back to the unity. I like this quote from Abdul Baha, because he talks about the responsibilities in the family. And he says that the concept of Baha'i family is based on the principle that the man is charged with the responsibility of supporting the entire family financially, and the woman is the chief and primary educator of the children. So far, I know sometimes the friends in the West go, oh, no, 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 that can't be right. But then Abdullah goes to explain this does not mean that these functions are inflexibly fixed and cannot be changed and adjusted to suit particular family situations. Furthermore, while primary responsibility is assigned, it is anticipated that fathers would play a significant role in the education of the children, and women would be breadwinners. So in the Baha'i faith, we don't say that women should not work and should just stay home with the children and men have to work, although the primary responsibility is for men to work and be the breadwinners and the women to be the educators of the children. But these two combine again, and they have to be working together as a unit. And of course, consultation is a very important concept in the Baha'i faith. And we are told that we should consult on every matter. And these also apply to marriage partners and within the family, and indeed in all areas. When you need to make any decision, you have to consult with each other, if it's in the family. If it's outside of the family, with whoever you need to consult, you have got to consult. And of course, the House of Justice talk about that it requires all participants to express their opinion with absolute freedom and without apprehension that they will be censored or their views belittled. These prerequisites for success are unattainable if the fear of violence or abuse is present, which is something we see a lot of in different environments. So the whole family has rights, the whole family needs to be heard. More of Abdul Baha's writings, he talks about the woman and man should abide with each other in the closest companionship and to be even as a single soul. They are two helpmates, two intimate friends who should be concerned about the welfare of each other. He doesn't say they have to be concerned about their own welfare, but he's talking about the husband and wife should be concerned with the welfare of each other, not just himself or herself. And if they live thus, they will pass through this world with perfect contentment, bliss, and peace of heart, and become the object of divine grace and favor in the kingdom of heaven. I just feel that this is more referring to receiving more grace of God, referring more assistance from God if there is harmony within the family. And again, he refers to the husband and wife as two doves. So closest companionship, single soul, two helpmates, mates, two intimate friends, to be concerned with each other's welfare, and also two doves in the nest. And this is about how the Baha'i men have the opportunity to actually show the world that there's a new approach to relationship between the sexes, where aggression and the use of force are eliminated and replaced by cooperation and consultation. I'm sure Nogol and, well, Saho isn't there, but Brittany is. Nogol can tell you about our family consultations when the children were young. Or we'll stop them, we won't let them say anything. And this is really the last slide. The Universal House of Justice talk about in a marriage relationship, neither husband nor wife should ever unjustly dominate the other, and that there are times when the husband and the wife should defer to the wishes of the other. If agreement cannot be reached through consultation, each couple should determine exactly under what circumstances such difference is to take place. So when there is a difficult decision to be made, they need to consult. And sometimes it may mean that one has to accept what the other one wants to say. So the next topic, which Ushman will talk about, not today, don't worry, we're done, is the family love account.